I decided I'm going to start making you folks some videos. You've all supported me really heavily, and I deeply appreciate it. And I'm trying to expand my writing. I've been trying to expand into more audio essays, and I've been trying to expand into video. And so I'm starting with you folks. I've decided that for those of you who support me, I'm going to be making a video like this weekly, actually. Hopefully always from such nice places. I'm going to scroll my phone around so you can kind of see where I am. So as you might already know, I am in Luxembourg. I am currently staying with a new love of mine. We've been together, I guess, now 9 weeks. And the quarantines for COVID-19 started about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And we were in a new relationship, so, there was we see each other all of the time. Everything's really good. And then there was a possibility of not seeing each other for 5 weeks. And he invited me to stay through the quarantine with him. So we're playing house. A little early, I guess, to kind of, be doing that, but it's gone really well. It's gone incredibly well. And one of the really great things about being here is that I get to be in a place like this. I'm in a forest that is just a 10-minute walk from this home. And I'm making a video for you folks. So for these videos, I'm going to kind of do kind of a weekly journal, as it were, to kind of tell you about my life, what I'm thinking about, those sorts of things. I won't get too heavy on theory or anything. If you want more theory, you can always listen to my Empires Crumble podcasts with Ali Valkyrie, or you can read my essays. I tend to do a lot of theory. I tend to not do as much personal stuff as I'd like. I'm trying to expand on that. In fact, any of you who probably follow me on Instagram or Facebook have probably noticed I've, maybe been posting a lot of interesting photos of myself. Many of them partially clothed. And also of the man that I'm with. Kind of enjoy that. And I'd like to do more of that sort of thing. But for you folks, I want to get really personal here. To tell you about my life, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, how things are. Perhaps it'll just feel like kind of a distraction, a nice distraction for you folks, or, maybe you'll feel closer to me, maybe I'll feel closer to you, or maybe you'll actually find something in something I'm saying that kind of helps you too. So, what I've been thinking about lately, there's been several things. So it's almost spring here. Well, it's officially already spring. It's been spring for a while. But it doesn't really feel like it. Not so much. A bit more today. As you can see, I'm sitting in sunlight. I'll flash the sun at you for a moment. There you are. But, there'll be days that are very cold. Days when I don't feel like leaving the house. Even though I'm surrounded by beauty like this. Also, it feels like spring kind of comes slowly to the soul. The world is kind of terrifying right now. Not just with the quarantines and the pandemic itself, but a lot of the governmental reactions have been a little terrifying. It's really scary to hear that so many people are losing their jobs, which within capitalism, if you don't have a job, you can't eat, and if you can't eat, you can't live. Our entire system has been based off of that for the last 200, 300 years, and that's obviously not working any longer. And it feels like spring just takes forever. Except it's funny is, summer and winter are pretty obvious seasons, as it were. It's winter. Winter kind of just comes and it's there. And then summer, there's a moment when you're kind of looking around and you realize, oh, it's not spring anymore, it's summer, it's just there. But it always feels like spring and autumn are more transitional times where sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes less time. And right now, there's a lot of parts in my soul where they're just like, oh, I fucking wish it were really spring, even though it is. And I think about how that kind of relates to my own life. You've probably read this because I posted essays about this, that I was in a really, really bad relationship for a year and a half. It was very abusive, physically and mentally. And there's been a lot of trauma that I've had to kind of heal from. There was a moment, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a friend, and I had an anxiety attack. I haven't had one of those in a long time, but I was going back to Rennes, which is where I lived, because I had to go take care of some paperwork. And the entire trip, I took a train from Luxembourg to Metz, and then from Metz to Paris, and I was pretty excited, pretty hopeful. I wasn't freaking out at all. And then as soon as I got into Paris, in Paris you have to change stations to go from one direction or one part of France to another. So I was at Gare Est, and then I had to go through the metro, and the metro is really like just an underground journey, literally an underground journey, but also spiritually an underground journey. It's an interesting place. I wouldn't wish it on my biggest enemies. I don't really have any enemies, but still. And when I was in the metro station, I saw a tourist board, like an advertisement. You can hear birds, by the way. I wish I could show you. There are multiple crows. Well, ravens actually here. Sorry, I might get distracted sometimes. But so I saw an advertisement board for Britannia, which is where I lived, and I always wanted to live in Britannia, and then I finally did. But then that's where that bad relationship happened. I had to leave my place, and I saw that, and I just kind of broke down. I had this horrible anxiety attack. I'm sitting in Paris Montparnasse, which is an awful place. And I texted one of my closest friends. I'm like, dude, I'm having an anxiety attack. I can't get on that train. And he's like, well, where are you? I'm like, Paris Montparnasse. And he's like, well, you're in hell right now. The easiest way to get out of hell is to get on the train to come see me, because he lives in Rennes too, and he was going to meet me at the train station. I did, and then things were kind of okay, and I talked to him like, I can't believe that happened to me, and he's like, dude, it's only been 3 months. I'm like, wait, no, it feels like it's been longer. And it did feel like it had been longer. It felt like it had been, a year since I'd been out of that. But then, realistically, I'd only been out of that situation for 3 months. And I'm like, this doesn't really make any sense. He's like, look, so much has happened since then that it feels like it's been longer. But it hasn't. So you should be easier on yourself. And a lot of times with the, wild trauma that I still feel, in this new relationship, which is great. He's amazing. But there's some times that I'm sure everybody has this, where you start getting flashbacks, or you start reacting or preparing for something bad to happen because you're used to bad things happening. I know bad things happen, but you find that when you're doing that, it's almost like you're kind of trying to draw a bad thing because you're so anxious. You just want the bad thing that you're anxious to be over, to happen, so you can get over the anxiety, or at least say, oh, okay, I was right. But then no bad things are happening. And, so I guess now it's been 4 months, and there's that part where it's like, fuck, I should be over all of this, right? But then, no, it's been 4 months. And that feels like this whole spring thing too, Spring, depending on which calendar you look at it, it starts March 21st or with the vernal equinox, or it starts on Imbolc. It's spring, but it doesn't feel like it. But then if I look around, I know that this place wasn't so green. There are flowers. I'm going to try to show you a flower. Let's see. Here's a flower. Hello, flower. Anyway, yeah. I know there weren't flowers here. And there are now. Oh, I'm going to show you more. Sorry. Yeah, there are flowers all over the place. Because it wasn't spring, and now it is. But I find myself wanting more, even though it's not time. It's not time for more yet. They'll come when they come, and I guess kind of healing from stuff is the same way. That, yeah, There are flowers in my soul that were not there before because it was winter in my soul. But there are other flowers that aren't here yet because it's not their time, and I have to wait and not try to push it. You can't pull flowers out of the earth. You can't pull healing out of your soul, I guess. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking. I hope that helps, or I hope at least it was an interesting story. And I hope my shaky hand has not been too bad because I maybe drank a lot of coffee right before I went on this walk. And I have a splinter now. It's a blackberry splinter. See, yeah, the blackberries, they're sprouting too, you know? Things are coming. Like, everything's coming on its time. And it's hard where you just sort of keep, but no, this isn't it yet. Well, of course it's not it, you know? And then, but that comes. So, I love you all. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna do like 1 or 2 more shots here. That's where I am. And it's kind of beautiful here. And I hope you're finding beauty in your life too. I know things are really difficult right now, but there is beauty all around you. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, it is spring, even if it doesn't feel like it. So, be well all. I will send you all another video next week. Okay. Bye.